Wagwan, my people. Yes, we are back. Happy New Year, happy holidays, all of that. Yes, as you can see, end of year roundup show. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And yeah, man, it's end of a year, 2025. It's been a long year. It's been a up and down year. Me personally, it's been quite a progressive year. I just wanted to start on that, man. Obviously, getting back on the channel, starting back. Obviously, I started doing content like a couple years ago. Then I stopped. I spoke a lot of this about on my journey. Came back recently. I said, you know what, this season, I'm really gonna go for it. I'm gonna give my all. I'm gonna give 100%. And you know what? As much as it's not had been much of a great start like I've had when I started before, it's been a much better start. Like the people that's come connected with me, like I won't mention his name as yet, but I spoke about it before. Marketing guys really helped me change a lot about the show. Like I know I keep going on about stuff, you're gonna see everything, but I'm gonna speak about it a little bit more in the show. But definitely this year has been an eye-opener in terms of what the capabilities that I can bring, what the value that the show has, and just being able to put out the content. And now I've received all the information that I need to actually give you guys what you really deserve. And I promise you, 2026, I'm not going to let you guys down. I'm going to be, because I even know this, like I took a little break. You guys might think, oh, some of the times I'm on and off because I'm juggling a lot of things. That's one thing about me this year. It's like I put myself in a position like I do events, I do stuff with the kids, father stuff, all that malarkey. I'll speak a lot about in the different contexts, but nuts and crannies, I do a lot. And to reach the point that I've reached today, to work with someone who believes in what I'm believing in and actually invested in the stuff that I invested in, the time that I'm putting in to learn, like even all this AI stuff. Like I've said many times, I'm not really a computer savvy person, so sitting down having to learn all this stuff is having to be, it's been a task in itself. And like I said, I've started uni, and sometimes people say to me, bro, like you're doing too much, man, like don't overload yourself. But I'm in a position, I like this, you know what I'm saying? I like being busy, I like having a lot of stuff to do. And I've always tried to do different ventures. I've always tried to try and make things work. And the position that I am now with this show going into next year, definitely putting me in a good space. And for all these young people that are out there, especially if you come from play, because for someone like me, I came out of a position where I had a lot of depression going on in my life. So I'm saying I had to deal with a lot of stuff. I have to get over a lot of things. And to get to this point now, I can be on camera and I can speak to guys speaking about football. Like obviously I've been a coach, I've done all this stuff, and obviously my mental health had an effect on me doing a lot of them things. But obviously to come back and to be in a position where I now have the confidence to come out here and do what I'm doing, I've only reaped rewards from it. And I just got to give a shout out to my marketing guys helping me. And I promise you guys, I keep saying 2026 is going to be good. And just any young one that's out there, it doesn't matter what you're doing, if it's a business, what you're doing. Because one of the things that I've noticed when I'm doing this thing, especially in the last year or so, is that especially when I start something, especially as big as content, because content is a big thing. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone has to start from somewhere. You're gonna start off with your low likes, your low views, whatever. But the concept of where you can go is such a big aspect. And sometimes when you put yourself in that position, the people around you, and this goes in many walks of life. It doesn't have to be a content. It could be a business idea that you have, a job, your dream job that you're looking for. But sometimes when you put yourself in a position to do things where maybe a lot of people around you don't really quite do that, it can be quite difficult because you might get some support there, and then you're not getting support from your friends and your families, and you expect people to post and do all this stuff, and it could be quite down on. Sometimes it could be a knock on your confidence. But you always see these people online, successful people, saying the same things like keep pushing, keep working, like knuckle down, block out all the noise. And I'm telling you, as much as the little progress that you make, like it's progress. And I promise you, like even me, I'm talking like this, like I'm got 100,000 subscribers, but just the little work that I've put in, the groundwork that I've put in, just to see the little progress that I've made, and just the people that I'm talking to now and commenting, and even like the verified people that messaging me, liking my stuff, like these things are little things that what I call batteries, you know, batteries that boost you on and give you the confidence and know how to say, you know what, I'm in the right place, I'm doing the right things, I just need to learn, I need to refine myself, I need to do the better things. So that's what I've been doing, and that's all I've been working on. Some of the times I'm taking breaks, I'm just really trying to formulate, understand, get the correct pattern, get my niche, give you guys what you really want, and that's what I've been doing. And the next year, I promise you, the whole show is going to change, the layout's going to change, how we're presenting the show, what we're going to be giving to you guys is going to be a complete difference. And leading up to the World Cup, we have got some really, really exciting seasons going into next season. That's how far ahead we've been planning. So thanks for everyone that's been supporting. Thanks to you guys. Keep liking, keep sharing. Like I say, with the giveaways, we've done a giveaway over the Christmas. We're going to be presenting Lionel with one of the boots, and we're going to be presenting I think it was one of our YouTube subscribers as well, FA Cup tickets. I forget his name. Apologies for that. And yeah, that's what we like to do on the show. And we're going to be doing a lot of that, a lot of charity work, a lot of giving back, because that's what this show's about. Obviously, me, my experience, I'm going to be talking about football, giving you guys the reactions, the old funny stuff, and all that content stuff, but as well as the main things to give back, the knowledge, the skills, the tips, the tricks, everything you guys need to know to make it from grassroots to pro, that same old lingo. But also as well, just to give back to the community, do you know what I'm saying? Give back to the parents, give back to the kids, and just make this whole project, project, adventure, business, whatever you want to call it, worthwhile. So yes, like I said, don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe on all of our platforms. And yeah, man, let's just dive into this show. We're going to talk about we're going to have a little just roundup of the year, events that's happened, have a little breakdown, look into 2026. I know there's some games on today in the EPL. We'll dive into them as well, have a little look into that, and just, yeah, we'll just round up the year. And let's see, we're on a bit more earlier today, and this is the times I'm going to be on now. I'm going to be on a lot more earlier. I know the late night shows getting people up, do you know what I'm saying? But I've got to get the algorithm, see who's watching the channel, and you guys definitely want to see me on a bit earlier. So give you guys what you want. So going into next year, we'll be on your screens a lot earlier. But yeah, dove into the year. We'll start off with the year. We'll start off with the champions, Liverpool. Slot came in, debut season. All expectations was on him. Slot left. How was you going to react to him leaving? He ended up winning the title. Changing the system, tweaking it a little bit. Tweaking it a little bit, putting 1-2 players in different positions like Gravenberch, switched them from attacking midfielder to the defensive one, played big dividends for him, and went on to win the title. But since then, coming towards the end of the year, Liverpool have been on a little bit of a slip, a slide, whatever you may call it. Slot has changed the system, got new players, and he is struggling. Seemed to have found a bit of form recently back into the top 4, but the drop from where it was looking quite massive. And I think the advantage that they had was the inconsistency that the rest of the league was showing. They gave Liverpool the opportunity to gain some form and slowly creep up that table. But for Liverpool to go and win that title and then be in a position where they are leading into 2020-26, it's going to be interesting to see where they are. Some might count them out in the title race. I do, but it's a strange one for them because of the quality that they got into the squad. I know Isak's got injury, a leg injury, broke his leg. I think we won't see him again this season. If I'm being perfectly honest, we might see him to last couple of games towards the end of the season. But again, with Liverpool, the quality that they got, you won't be surprised to see Liverpool going on a 10-game run, and a 10-game run in this kind of season can bold big dividends. So we'll see how Liverpool go. And a title is a far stretch, but certainly not impossible, and definitely not mathematically impossible. So we're going to see how Liverpool fender in that kind of aspect when it comes to them and their faring in terms of them winning the Premier League. But why the signings that they've made, for me especially Ekatike, I think it's been a good signing for Liverpool, honestly. Isak has found it slow to gel in, and I've said this many times. Obviously, we've seen the whole debacle with Mo Salah, but I did think the losing of Jota, another big thing that happened in 2025, him and his brother passing away in a car crash, was a big academic in football. Everyone was drowning their sorrows, playing their condolences to him and their family. And as a show on Next Generation, I want to make sure that him and his family are still doing well. And yeah, I feel like that effect did have a big impact on Liverpool with Salah. We saw him come out with a few comments. He done this interview, and then there was a situation where he was out of the squad. They had to do an interview, and it seems that Liverpool might have patched that one up for now. But in the summer, that might be a situation that's revisited. But the situation that it is being now with Salah seem to be staying at Liverpool, you can't literally write off Liverpool, like I said, to go on a run. So it's going to be interesting to see with Arsenal and Manchester City looking like the two front runners, with Aston Villa there behind, some might say not serious contenders. Liverpool might see themselves, especially if they don't win the title, I feel like they want to creep up gain back as many points as possible, so that their title defense don't see much of a shambles like it has been. Do you know what I mean? So I expect Liverpool and Slot to go on and improve over the course of the season. Second big point that happened over 2025 is PSG conquering Europe, dominating Europe. PSG absolutely outstanding in the year of 2025, going on to win the Champions League. Moussa Dembele playing a key role, winning the Ballon d'Or. We'll talk about that a bit later. But PSG overall, there was a period in this year where a lot of people thought that PSG was unplayable. We know Chelsea ended up beating them in the final of the Club World Cup, and some might say due to the ferociousness and the high pace football that Emery was producing at PSG, that maybe that was a game too far. But before that, they definitely looked like a team that was definitely unplayable when you looked at the formation and how he was able to break Vitinha, put him into a deep line role, played him into a free build up in that position. The press from Moussa Dembele, the likes of Doué, the trickery. Then you got the Georgian winger, absolutely frightening. And then we had that midfield of Neves as well, producing really, really good numbers. And they look frightening. And Emery looks like he ended up winning the Champions League and looked like they was going to dominate for many years to come. Obviously, PSG still doing well in the Champions League. We're going to see how it turns out in the serious end of that competition. But for the football that they was playing, it was revolutionary. I feel like the ability for him to stick to the simple principles that he had at Barcelona, high tempo, moving that ball around, but able to add that high press, that Gegenpress, some might say, able to suffocate teams, win that ball high in the pitch and take advantage of that and score loads of goals. Going into 2026, it's going to be an interesting one, I say, for PSG in the position that they are. Now that the project that they've built, winning the Champions League that the owners have been craving for many, many years, it's going to be interesting to see how that now evolves over the next couple of years. Now that mission has been achieved, will they be able to carry that on by bringing top players in, producing top players? We know their academy is producing some top stars. What's the young midfielder called? Eneri, I think that is. Apologies if I pronounce his name wrong. They got that young winger Mbaye, he's at the African Cup of Nations now with Senegal, and they got a few young talents in there. Doye that I've already mentioned, players in there that are coming in for their academy. So it's going to be interesting to see if PSG can see the same thing. Apparently, Emery is going to be getting a lifetime contract offer as well at PSG. So all looks good there for PSG and Emery going into 2026. Another big point is about I don't know, big point. I'd say a big gear is the Chelsea model. I think it's one of the big point. I definitely talked about it a lot. Chelsea obviously going on to win the Club World Cup in the summer. And we all know Chelsea and their situation that went on with Todd Bowley and Roman Abramovich leaving, having to sell the club, and Todd Bowley coming in. Since then, a lot of money has been spent on Chelsea. In the last 2 seasons alone, I think £2 billion has been spent. Been a lot of talk about Chelsea. Their model, it first started off with them buying a lot of experienced, well-known, well-named players, and didn't really quite work out. Had to sell a lot of them players a season later, and then kind of reverted and changed their model to more of a young, up-and-coming talent kind of Rochester model. With, I'm sure there's over like 40 players that they have in the squad and out on loan that are registered to the Chelsea first team. And obviously, there was a lot of question marks. Can they keep this up? Obviously, their inclusion into the Club World Cup. Obviously, at the time, Chelsea hadn't won any trophies. Obviously, it's been a long time since they won the Champions League. Everyone was questioning why they're in there. They deserve to be in there. Ended up going to beat one of the teams that everyone was saying was dominating the Europe in PSG. And now they're heading into, we've gone into this season and consistency. I think that's the big thing when we talk about Chelsea. Consistency, that model. I feel we're still looking for that final injection. Someone may be saying that it's going to come in the summer window when we've seen that now a lot of people are saying that they need energy in there. But we've seen a lot of positives from this model. We can't always say it's been downer. We've seen the likes of Palmer, Estavio. Palmer's been one of the best players in the world, we'll say, over the last couple of years. Estavio has been performing outstanding for them. Definitely a bright young talent. And they definitely brought players that we expect to have high ceilings. But like I always say with young players, consistency. And I think the conundrum going into 2026 for Chelsea is how do you keep this model thriving? And what I mean by thriving is when you have a lot of young players, especially young players that are of good high talents. And when I'm going to pick out two that I just mentioned, Palmer and Estavio, two top quality players that we know can get into most first teams, let alone top European title ability teams. So you're talking about teams that we know are going to win Champions League, competing for the titles every single season. And yes, if Chelsea managed to get themselves in a Champions League, or they managed to get themselves in a Champions League, or they managed to get themselves in a challenging for titles, okay, that might be okay for the time being. But if they're not actually winning them trophies, them big trophies, and they've got such big young talents who have amazing potential, and the model of how it is in terms of Chelsea need to make profit. When I tell people that Chelsea need to sell every season, they're like, "What are you doing about it? Chelsea don't just." The reason why they bought so many players is so that they can balance out the money and sell them in players in a certain time. Yes, they might not need to sell their best players, but they still need to sell. But when you have that conundrum, how the football market works, when you're trying to get value for money, sometimes weird things can pop up where one of your best players right now in the team is. A club is asking a reasonable amount of money. You might not get this opportunity again. And how the model is your club where you do need to make profit, and you might not be seeing as much offers or anything else coming in from anyone else. It looks like you might have to sell that top player. It might get like that. And that's something that Chelsea fans got to consider when it comes to this model, is that, yes, you might not have to sell your best players, but there might be a conundrum where there might be a player that's performing high functioning in your team, and you're going to have to let them go simply because your club model is that you need to sell. And obviously, yeah, so that's one thing that Chelsea got to think about going into 2026. Another big point, just spoke about them PSG and Ousmane Dembele and the Ballon d'Or. This one was an interesting one, the Ballon d'Or, because there was a lot of politics. I think there's been a lot of politics about the Ballon d'Or over the last couple of years. We've seen the Ronaldo and the Messi debacle, where a lot of people that feel like Ronaldo's been robbed for the Ballon d'Or, vice versa. Some people are saying that Pedri's Ballon d'Or wasn't deserved. Some are saying that Ousmane Dembele's Ballon d'Or wasn't deserved. And the funny debacle about this was, especially when it comes to the Ousmane Dembele one, was the whole Yamal and Rafinha debate around it, because there's so many things going on with Barcelona, especially recently. I heard something, did you see that thing about Lewandowski missing the penalty because they don't want to pay their bonuses? And I feel like with the Ballon d'Or, I do think it's starting to lose a bit of its shine. Don't get me wrong, I totally think that Ousmane Dembele deserved to win the Ballon d'Or this year. I just didn't like the propaganda around the likes of Lamine Yamal, who I think is a top quality young player, but the propaganda around how to win the Ballon d'Or is, I think, my problem. I think the Ballon d'Or has creeped into the content space, social media space, where I feel like your appearance in the social media world kind of adds more value to try and you get in that trophy, where I think that's where the battle was coming from with Dembele, where he was solely winning that Ballon d'Or on footballing performances. But I think the propaganda around how popular Lamine Yamal was on social media, the nostalgia effect of a Barcelona player winning the prestigious Ballon d'Or trophy with the likes of Messi, I feel all that elements combining in one kind of brings a bit of distaste into the luxury of the trophy, because the trophy is purely based on the player who is performing best that year. And there was no doubt that Ousmane Dembele was performing the best. And I don't think the Ballon d'Or should be watered down into a thing where it's like moments. And I feel like that's the effect that some people may be seeing that's becoming a bit distasteful with the Ballon d'Or. Hopefully it shakes up a bit. Don't get me twisted, like the situations in terms of the bonuses and Barcelona and things like that. Hopefully that's not having a big effect as so many people is saying. But it's an interesting one. Let us know what you think about the Ballon d'Or. Do you think it's watered down? Do you think that the way that it's done, do you think that it should be done a bit different? Do you think that the journalists only being the ones allowed to vote is kind of the right thing? And do you think propaganda plays a lot? Do you think social media, the element of social media, is playing a part more than the footballing abilities of a player? Yeah. Transfer window, the 2020-25 transfer window. Yes, this one was a big one. We saw Liverpool make big strides in the transfer window this window. We spoke about that earlier in the show with Slot making a lot of changes this year after winning the title. Liverpool went out and spent a bag. I think they spent like £500 million on big money signings of the likes of Isak, Wirtz, and really they signed Jeremy Frimpong, and Zezi, the left back, sorry, pronounced his name wrong. A lot of big signings that they brought into the club, and it didn't seem to quite click at the start. In my head, I knew Liverpool had a plan. I knew they was going to be patient. I never thought they was going to be rushing and selling the manager. And I think the advantage, like I just said earlier in the show, that Liverpool and Slot had is the inconsistencies that the rest of the league had. And with spending £25 million on the likes of Isak, definitely a player we would expect to hit ground. I think he's only got one league goal before he broke his leg. Definitely a lot of pressure on him and his performances at Liverpool. They signed Ekitike, another player I forgot to mention. I think he's been their best signing of the summer. I think he's got now 8 goals and 3 assists so far this season. He's been definitely, I think, if not their best player this season when he's been on the pitch. And obviously the gelling of the big money that they spent, I feel like Liverpool did need to spend it, because at the same time, I thought Liverpool understand the threat of Manchester City. And I think with the rate that they knew that Manchester City was spending at the time, I think, no disrespect to Liverpool, I think to Arsenal, sorry, I think Liverpool saw Manchester City as more big of a threat than Arsenal in terms of the budget that they have, the ability to spend in the window, the manager that they had, and already the players that they had. Okay, Manchester City didn't have the best of seasons last season, but you can't forget that they had the likes of Foden, they had the likes of Haaland, they had the likes of Stones, Diaz, players that's already won the Premier League. So for the Manchester City, go out to sign Donnarumma, to sign Reinders, Cherky. I thought Liverpool really had to kind of compete with that for them to kind of stay on par and stay on level. And yes, it might have taken a little bit of time for them to gel, but it seems like maybe over the second half of the season, going into 2026, it might be working for Liverpool. Wirtz, another player, record £1 million signing outside the Premier League, doesn't seem to be quite working for him at Liverpool. Even that one there, I feel like it might be a techie when it comes to that one, because I feel like he's a player that maybe might struggle in the league. I don't feel like this league might not be for him. And I feel like when we talk about Isak being maybe a bargain, not Isak, Ekitike at £70 million, I do think Wirtz will end up being a flop for £100 million. I just don't see it working out for him at Liverpool. Manchester United went big in the transfer market this window. They bought the likes of Sesko, they bought the likes of Brian, they bought Cunha, they bought Lemons, really backing Amorim this window, spending I think over £200 million. And well, no, tell a lie, they spent £130 million combined. But I think I'm talking about Sir Jim this year, especially the window, considering last night it's been a big play for Manchester United. This in terms of the transition for Amorim, there's been a lot of calls for his head. A lot of people saying that he doesn't know what he's doing. His system's outdated. This is not the Manchester United way. Sir Jim came out a couple months ago, done an interview saying, no, I believe in the manager. We're taking a little bit elements from Arsenal and their project with Arteta, and we're going to believe in him. And over the last couple, since that interview, things started to change for Manchester United a little bit. I think the stats have proven Manchester United have been improving. They're the second most top goal scorers now in the league. Performances are a bit better. And we can see something there. And going into 2026, now entering the January transfer market, there's obviously rumours that Xerxes might go, rumour that he's going to go to Roma, Manchester United in an attack in the market for an attacker. Exciting times for Manchester United in that element. Obviously, ain't got Bruno, haven't got Kobe's injured, Ahmad and Mbeumo away at African Cup of Nations. Got Wolves today, later on today. But Manchester United do have positive things to look at where they are going into 2026. And Amrin has said it in many, many press conferences. They're not going to rush. They're not going to make the same mistakes in the transfer window. So going into 26, Man United can have a bit of confidence. If they can get through this period with the squad that they have right now with the players that's missing, I think it's like 7 first-team players that are out for Manchester United. If they can get through this period, I think they've got Burnley, Wolves today, and I think it's Bournemouth, if I'm not correct, and get through that period, win them 3 games, get a lot of players back into the squad. 2026 can be a big year for Manchester United, and definitely looking to get into that Champions League spot, and then heading into that summer market where if boy, you don't really want to see Man United in the Champions League. Like, because Man United in the Champions League and in the transfer market, we're in a whole different ballgame. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, the players that Manchester United was able to recruit this summer with no Champions League football, Sesko, Cunha, Brian Mbeumo, imagine Man United with Champions League football. So, definitely could be a good year for Man United fans if Man United are able to make Champions League football and in them going into the transfer window. FA Cup still available for Manchester United. Man United fans always definitely hunting there for a trophy, so we can see big things happen there for Man United if it goes well. Arsenal, on the other hand, Arsenal. Year 2025. I don't know, Arsenal fans. How was the year 2025? I don't know. I don't know. Would you say it was a positive year? Would you say it was a disappointing year? Considering it's your 2 years in a row that you've missed out on the title, heading into the end of the year now, started off really, really well. Performances haven't really quite been there, but the wins are coming. You spent a lot of money in the summer signing Eze, None, Gokres. A lot of question marks about him. But going into 2026 for Arsenal, considering the year that they've had, I can't know. It's a bit of a weird one because I don't know. For me, obviously being a Man United fan, trophies is all about trophies. Arsenal, they've been in a bit of dip for many years. The position that they are, ability to win a lot of games, got a nice little squad around them. It looks like the horizon is there, but at the end, if the trophy doesn't come, if there's no trophy, then what does it really amount to? Does it really amount to anything? And with the money that they spent in the summer, you definitely expected Arsenal to be in a position where they are now, which is currently top of the Premier League, but you would definitely expect them to be having much more of a presence, a fear, a get up and go about them. I spoke about this before. We've seen it floating around a lot. When you see a title-winning team, you want to expect at least one player in that team to be going on to win either a Golden Boot, Player of the Year, something of that ilk. And you look at maybe a player like Salah, year of 2025, had a big injury in his hamstring that kind of derailed his season last season. He started the season very well, but came off the back at the end of the season of that injury. Coming to this season, suffered a little bit, not really got going to the standards that we expect of Saka. Only 4 league goals this season. And I don't know, 2026, it's for Arsenal, it's one of them ones, because if they don't win the title or Champions League this season, where do we go from here? Where do we go here, Arsenal fans? You told me, if you don't win a title or Premier League, I don't see you sacking the manager. I'm not one of them people. I'm not going to come here but what do you do? Do you actually have to go down that route where you be harsh and sack that manager, or do you actually go again? Do you actually trust him, go again? Because after this window, do you trust him in the summer window to go again? What players are available, considering that some may say this is the best squad that you've had since Thierry Henry and them days, but them days you was winning a title. So can you really say that is the squad really big enough? That's questions that Arsenal and the likes have to answer. So yes, we've seen that's the transfer market stuff. Another point when I talk about his little points going on throughout the year is Ange Postecoglou. Let's not forget about Ange. I call him Ange Postedoodoo. Ange Postedoodoo. Mad, he had a crazy year, Ange. Came into the Premier League. Obviously, he's been at Spurs. His formation had this gung-ho Bielsa type hybrid system where Everyone was just running, chasing the ball, making sure you're pressing, getting the man down. Had a terrible, terrible season with Tottenham in the league, but managed to go on and win the Europa League. And it was a topsy-turvy for him in that year. Obviously, he was given a chance. Maybe, all right, cool, do you know what? We're going to give you a little bit of grace going into next season. Didn't really quite work. Got himself sacked. Then, bizarrely, got himself another job at Nottingham Forest. I did say at the time that I felt that him getting a job at Nottingham Forest definitely had to do with the relationship, him being Greek and owner being Greek, getting that chance again. But then went in at Nottingham Forest in September and was sacked by October. And the funny thing about Ange Postecoglou, I think the best part of Ange Postecoglou was his press conference, the way that he used to argue with the media, come up with this outlandish lines. What do they say? My second year, I always win something, which he did end up winning something at Spurs. Tried to bring that again at Nottingham Forest, but the league performances just wasn't enough. That football, that Bielsa type football, just really wasn't working. And we saw how Bielsa suffered with that at Leeds, and that ended up being his detriment to him losing his job. But the debacle for Ange Postecoglou, at the end of the year, don't worry, he's going to be ending up a very, very wealthy man with all them sovereign payments that he's going to get from him losing his job. But overall, I think it's been a detriment to him and his stock as a manager. I definitely don't see him getting a Premier League job in a very, very, very long time. I feel like for Ange going into 2026, he's definitely got to look into Europe. Even that might be a struggle, but he definitely, for him, I feel he needs to take his expertise outside of the Premier League for a little while. Unless he's going to reframe it and change it with something that he says he's not going to do. I do struggle to see another Premier League club giving him a chance, considering his performances that he had at Nottingham Forest and Spurs. Thomas Frank took his place at Spurs. Start of the year, I give him, I don't know, for Spurs, I don't know right now if they're going to be playing today. Up and down for him. Just sold Ben Johnson to Crystal Palace. Maybe they might give him some money for him to spend in January. And I think for Thomas Frank, that's what he needs. And I think hence the reason why Thomas's Spurs have been quite forefront in getting rid of Johnson. I think they're going to get some money in, try and see if they can get 1-2 players of Thomas Frank's ilk, which can kind of help him in terms of his philosophy moving forward. Wolves, it's been a dire 2025 for them. I think they haven't picked up no points this season, on a minus 28 goal difference, and sitting rock bottom of the Premier League. Sacked their manager Victor Pereira in November, got in Edwards, and since then they haven't only managed to pick up 2 points, defeat after defeat after defeat after defeat. Big up to the boys, big up to the boys Sunderland this season. Done really, really well this season. Come back into the Premier League. Got a win over their time where Derby rivals Newcastle 1-0 a couple games ago. Currently sitting 6th in the Premier League. No, 7th, I think they are. Or 6th at Christmas. And I definitely feel like they will not be looking at relegation this season. So big achievement for Sunderland going into 2026. Arsenal top at Christmas. Today, Manchester City could take over them. Going to be interesting game today. Thomas Tuchel and England. World Cup coming up. Big year for England. World Cup coming up. World Cup year. We're looking at a lot of players. January transfer market is going to be a big window. See, obviously, Xerxes looking to leave Manchester United for game time. Kobe rumored to leave Manchester United for game time. We've got players at all across the league looking for game time, because what the World Cup is a couple months away, and all players are definitely going to be wanting to make sure that they're playing regular football in the second half of the season to increase their chances of getting into that World Cup squad. Yes, and before we end the show, man, we're going to talk about the young ballers, man. That's what we're here for. Next gen ballers, man. There, man, going into 2020, well, the year 2025, we have to, I think the biggest rise for me had to be a Starville. Starville signing from Chelsea, Per Mahrez, breakout 2025 year, 18-year-old, actually lit up in the World Cup. A lot of doubts in terms of can he handle it in the Premier League physically wise, has come in, stepped up, been really shining for Chelsea, been one of their best players, picked up an injury of late, and like again, being young, physically element, it's important that Chelsea don't overload him going into 2026. Here's a few players that I think that we should be looking out for in 2026. Some young ballers that I think that might break through and have a bit of something to say in 2026. Number one on the list is Max Downing, Arsenal 16-year-old. Currently, I think he picked up an injury, attacking midfield winger. A lot of talk about Downing. Made his debut recently for Arsenal. Some people are saying he's their next gem to come through. And I saw an interesting thing about him. Someone saying about Max Downing. A lot of people want to realize that his pace to get here, where he is now, is in his age group. He definitely had one of the most physical advantages in terms of him being prepped quicker than a lot of players. And now he's getting to a stage where the lot of physicality is bigger than him. Maybe that might be having an effect of his body and picking up the injuries that he's picking up now. And these are the little details that you got to think about when a lot of people are saying, why is he not playing? Play him now. He should be playing every single week. He's really important. It's these key details that you got to remember. He's a young lad, still only 16 years of age. Like I said, throughout his whole development, he's been actually the biggest kid. So he's never really had to face impacts, never really had to face hard challenges. And now he's going into an environment where he's not one of the most physical players. And these are the times that you got to take care, let the body develop, let him grow before you start putting him into high elite competitive competition week in, week out. But next year, I do expect him to get some more minutes towards the end of the season. Start of next season, I do expect him to be fully involved in Arsenal's pre-season tour. And I do expect him to have not a major impact this season after, but I do expect him to play a couple minutes. But I do, again, expect Arsenal to take their time with him. Another young baller that I want us to watch out for in 2026 is Franco Kamara at AC Milan, striker, 18 years of age, breaking out into the scene for AC Milan this season. Made history by making a debut at 15 years of age. And in 2026, with the striker market being the way it is, and with a lot of clubs looking for strikers, this is definitely one striker I feel that we should be watching out closely. Good physique, good goal scoring ability, and definitely a player that I feel that can have a big impact. Or like I said, still young, but breaking into that category where he's going to be hitting that 18, 19 years of age. And I feel like for a striker, it can either work one or two ways. Yeah, you can either start your career, or you can kind of derail it a little bit, have to wait a little bit. But around that age, I do expect him to go on and having an impact for AC Milan. And here's a young player that many of you might not even heard of. Is a young baller called Sullivan. He plays for Philadelphia Union. He's signed for Manchester City. I think he signed for Manchester City about 2 years ago. Young American talent. Big star in America. A lot of people know him. The future of Manchester City. Manchester City signed him very young. He's now 16. I think he's going to be turning 17 next year. I think he's going to be coming to Manchester next year. He's going to be involved with Pep and his squad. And this is just another rare talent that Manchester City are just assembling in their academy roster. We've seen the players to disperse the likes of Lavia, Rogers, who've gone and have great careers. And it looks like they're starting to do that again with, I think they've got Napan, they've got this young kid called Sullivan, and there's a couple, I think they're about to sign another young kid from Watford as well. So Manchester City on that resurgence again, looking for them talents all around Europe, getting them, nurturing them, and trying to push them into the first team. And hey, when it comes to that Manchester City academy, we all know the ballers that they produce. So look out for the Sullivan going into the year 2026. Could have big things to say. And young baller Mpai at PSG, currently playing for Senegal at the African Cup of Nations. I've done a blueprint for him on our TikTok, so also go follow on us on TikTok. That's what we do a lot here on the show as well. So on TikTok, you see me break down, give you a lot of blueprints about the young players, where they grew up, little gems and tips of how they've done it to make it into the professional game. While he has been not so prompt up, because you got the likes of Emery, the young central midfielder, being the face of Barcelona's academy. He's been really effective, played in the Champions League against Barcelona this season, done really well, and definitely a player that I think is going to be getting a lot of chances for PSG next season. So definitely look out for him. Another young baller, hot on the lips is Barcelona's Fernandes, 18 years of age, will be next year. Central midfielder. We've seen Barcelona started to bring back their spot. We've seen that their El Masias. We've seen a couple gems floating through there. Barcelona never disappoint us when it comes to wonder kids. We've seen the recent likes of Pedri, Yamal, Gomez, of the likes bursting through. And this is another young gem, Fernandes, central midfield player, box to box, similar to likes of Jude Bellingham, got a physicality that you drive, gets the ball, can start attacks, can get late into the box, get them goals. So definitely them type of players. I think a box to box players now coming back into fashion. Seeing the likes of McTominay do what he's been doing at Napoli in that box-to-box position. We've seen Bruno transferred into the 8th position for Manchester United, 6 will say, do playing that box-to-box role, and we see him getting his best numbers. And I feel like the box-to-box midfielder is coming back into fashion, and Barcelona seem to have got the next gem on that list. Another young baller want us to look out for is Gabriel Meck, signed for Chelsea, but is currently at Gramado. Young 18-year-old winger. Chelsea model again, come with these another young ballers. Player that we should be looking at, maybe I feel like for the start of next season, maybe when Chelsea get all their players back and we see who they're going to be letting go, who they're going to be keeping. This might be another young talent that might creep into that squad and might have a big impact, just the likes of Eustabio had this season. So look out for Gabriel Meck in 2026. Another young baller to look out for is Amara Diouf. Yes, this is an young baller that's been touted by a lot of clubs around Europe. Currently plays for Metz, 18 years of age, at the African Cup of Nations, currently right now. Similar to Sadio Mane, very young, made his debut for Senegal at the age of 15. Yeah, at 15. So, you know, when you're making your international debuts at them young ages there, you know that you are a very touted young player. Currently playing in the French league, and I feel like he is definitely a player in the summer that clubs are going to be looking at to be getting his signature. So look out for him. Amara Diouf playing for Metz. And next on the list, we have got Lemaire, Justin Lemaire. Midfielder, winger, very versatile, following the footsteps of Caicedo, joining Borussia Dortmund in the summer, the Ecuadorian, and he is definitely a player I think that we should be looking out for. He's got great technical ability, both-footed, like I said, can play in midfield as playing as one as a left wing and on the right wing. And in 2026, I feel like he could have a big impact. I feel like he might play a part for Ecuador in the World Cup as well. So it's going to be another young player that we should watch out for. And this is a player that a lot of people might not have heard his name, but for all my FM players, get the notepads out and go and look at Philip Esquervo. Plays for Real Plate. I hope I said his name right. 18-year-old winger, dazzling. Like when you see this young boy, it's just I like the players with the step overs, the trickery, the elegance, and for me, he's looking like a little bit of a Neymar-esque. I don't want to put too much young pressure on the young kid, but the elegance that he has on the ball, on that wing, just gives me a bit of that Neymar feel with that fast ability to devastate in one-on-ones. You've got another player that can just destroy people in one-on-ones, and he's looking like another South American technical talent that's going to be one to look out for 2026. He's going to be signing his signature. We've seen Tony Fernandes playing for Barcelona this season, having a great impact, the striker winger. We definitely expect him to be having a big impact for Barcelona next season. And I feel that Barcelona, we've spoken a lot about Barcelona's academy. When we look at a lot of academies overall, we look at the impact and how they having because we've seen Barcelona having to do this, especially with their financial situation, not able to pay a lot of money to get the best players in the world, but their ability to produce the quality of the young stars that we're seeing in Europe today is probably a testament to Barcelona as a club, and something I'm going to be very looking into quite deeply into 2026 because of their situation and how they're able to produce these top talents that they now can put out onto the stage, and Barcelona can still be competing at a high level. It begs the question when you look at the likes of even my club, Manchester United, even when you look at the likes of Arsenal, even Bayern Munich, another young talent come through there. Cayman, not another one on the list. So many young players to look out for in 2026. But like I said, with Barcelona, their system that they got, there's definitely something to watch out in 2026. But hey, thanks guys for locking in. It's been a long show. I'm gonna be on here more often, 6 o'clock. Everything here will change in the year. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Watch us on all platforms. Do content on all platforms. We've got the blueprint. We've got reactions. We've got the lot. We're going to be doing watch-alongs. Everything you want to be guys going to be getting involved for in 2026. I hope you guys enjoy. 2 more days to the year's out. Couple games on today. We'll see how the title, the European race, and the relegation battle ends up today. I will be doing a roundup show on that. So, guys, lock in. Thank you, guys, for all your support and everything. And for anyone out there, it doesn't matter what you want to do. Have confidence, have patience, have faith, work hard, have discipline, and every little progress is progress. Let's go, buddy.